Hey everyone. In the last several videos, we've talked about GLPI, we've talked about our automation platform, our email monitoring system. Uh, so you might be wondering, what about that Cherwell archive stuff? Well, we continue to work on the Cherwell archive side of Cortex. And in this video, I want to show you some of the cool things we've been doing, specifically around dashboards. So when I first started building out Cortex, I was really focused on the data, the records themselves. And at one point, I did build kind of a skeleton of interpreting the dashboard configuration, but I didn't really have a use case for it. It was cool, but I wasn't exactly sure how I might use dashboards or how other people might use dashboards. But in some recent conversations, I've realized that there are two pretty important use cases that might be interesting to you all. So in this video, I want to show A, what I've built, and B, talk about how they are useful for those two use cases. But before we get into it, I want to remind you all that we don't just talk about Cortex on our YouTube channel. We do have a Discord server, and we also have a user group that's kind of a live interactive thing where you can talk to us, you can talk to your peers. It's a weekly, I think it's a Teams call right now for 1 hour every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. You're welcome to come when you have the time, drop in, drop out as your time permits. Ask any questions or answer questions to other people who are there. We'd love to see you there. You can find links to both the Discord server and the user group down in the video description. Now, I'm just going to switch over to the demo screen and we'll jump right in. So, of course, here's the Cortex homepage, right? Everybody has seen this before, and in Cortex 2.2, we actually made some improvements to it so that searching is a little bit easier. But you might notice some new buttons on the left side. Uh, in addition to search and browse and save searches, which some of those might actually move around as we gear up for a 2.3 release or potentially 2.4, depending on when this feature actually lands. Um, you see a couple extra options. There's actually a third option that's not showing up on this database just because of the configuration that I have. We'll get to that in just a second. So let's talk about the first use case that people have for dashboards. The first use case, or in Cortex, that people would have for dashboards is to see how the dashboards were actually built out. So if we go down to structure, we can go to dashboards, which is currently still in alpha. And you see basically a manager, like you would see in Cherwell. This is actually the same interface that you would see over on OneSteps. So if we go over to dashboards, most of the dashboards, at least in the out-of-the-box content, are unassociated. So we added this unassociated option here. You can have a dashboard that is associated with a business object, but for Cortex purposes, that doesn't really matter. But if you did have a dashboard that was associated with a particular business object, you would have to go to that business object in order to find it. So let's go down to, say, dashboards, default dashboards. And these are all the out-of-the-box dashboards that kind of formed that home screen. So let's go to incidents and we'll just click view. And you can see this, it looks like a navigation bar down the left side. This is all of those dashboards that we were just looking at in that list. Now you can see the dashboards implementation isn't fully built out. There are still some pieces missing, like search results and grids don't show up. If we go over to global IT, you can see there's a matrix widget that just hasn't been built out yet. And I think some of these numbers are actually wrong just because of how the expression is being evaluated. There are still some rough edges that we're wrapping up there. And who knows? By the time this video gets published, that might all be fixed. But I wanted to get this video out before too much time went on because I do intend to get these grids wired up later today. So that's kind of the first use case is just being able to see the dashboards, see how they were built out, and at least see the widgets that you were looking at on a dashboard. Um, in addition to that, you can click some of these elements and go back and forth between, in this case, these are just actions that go to other dashboards. There are a few others, like this view more fires a command that just brings you back to the dashboards page. Um, and there are some others that maybe will get implemented, but maybe will not get implemented. So, for instance, anything that runs a one step probably won't get implemented because one steps like to change data, and that's not something we want to do in an archival system. But some of the other ones that fire commands like going to a record or um, going to another dashboard, obviously that's totally fine. Um, there are some commands that go to features that we haven't built anything out for. So, for instance, um, I'm not sure what dashboard it's on, possibly CMDB. No, changes maybe. View change calendar, right? So change calendar, that is a link that in Cherwell it would go to a calendar. Well, we haven't built anything out for calendars. We don't have a calendar feature. We're not reading anything, certainly from the database, to do anything with calendars. So that button isn't supported. If you click it, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. The second use case is a use case that was used. It was used this way in Cherwell. So dashboards weren't just a way to visualize data; they were actually a way to navigate. They were actually a way to build out interfaces within the application. If you're familiar with how the portal was built out in Cherwell, all of the pages in your portal were dashboards, right? Dashboards could show images, they could show embedded HTML, they could show data, sure, they could show grids, uh, they could also show expressions. It was basically like a whole website builder or page builder within the dashboard editor. So people would start using them, not just for the global IT dashboard, uh, and you'll see things light up on the left side. There's a reason for that. We'll get to that in a minute. Um, build out the global IT dashboard as your landing page, and then you could build out your own custom version of the global IT dashboard or your own brand new dashboard that was your homepage. Right when you log into Cherwell, that is what you see, and that is kind of your. It's kind of most recently used items, but it's your landing page. It's your mission control command center, where you land, and then from there you could go create a new incident. You could go look at your queue. You could if this my work dashboard is sufficient for you, you could make this your home dashboard, and so that you always land on this. So that's configured, and that's saved in settings. So now we're pulling out those settings, uh, and we're showing between potentially one and I guess potentially three, but it could be more new items on this left side. One or potentially more is for every role that you're a member of. So your security group is a member of a role. That role has a default dashboard. A security group could be tied to multiple roles, as seen here. I'm in the admin role, which I can choose either IT service desk or IT service desk manager. There are a couple things that roles determined, but the biggest thing that they were used for was to specify the home dashboard, the primary dashboard. So on this left-hand side, we now have links for we use the title of the role, and the it goes to the default dashboard for that role. Now, in this case, the default dashboard for both of these roles is the same. So they both light up because the way the navigation work is basically if you're on the page that navigation link links to, it lights up as active. Now, the third situation, in my case, technically the second situation, is that situation where if you've manually saved a dashboard to be your specific home dashboard, you'll get another item up here in between search and your role specific dashboard called My Dashboard. And that is your specific homepage, the one that you chose in Cherwell to be your default dashboard. And if you click that, it'll go right to your default dashboard. My particular user actually, my particular user isn't actually a Cherwell user. It's just manually been mapped to the admin security group. So because it's not a real user at Cherwell, I don't have a home dashboard. Um, yeah, so I don't get that option. But that's what we've been adding. We've been adding support for dashboards. We've been doing some cool things with dashboards. As of recording of this video, this is still, maybe it's not alpha anymore. It might technically be beta. It is hidden behind a feature flag. At this point, I'm not sure if it's going to go into 2.3 or 2.4. Realistically, it depends on uh, how far I can get on some of these widgets that are very visible and take up a lot of space. Um, Possibly the matrix widget, but definitely these grids that are supposed to show data, because that's a key part of the navigational element, right? Showing those. I think these are incidents that are, the most recent incidents or open incidents. Being able to go directly to those is one of the big use cases for some of these dashboards. Um, with that, there are certainly other things we could add to dashboards. For instance, being able to dive into some of the widget configurations and see more details there. Um, that's, I would say, follow-on work. So maybe not in 2.3 or 2.4, but maybe in future versions we get into that. If that's something that you would be interested in seeing, definitely drop a link or drop a comment down below in the comment section, and let me know what other things you want to see on dashboards. Right, this whole dashboards effort came out of a conversation that I had with the customer. They said, "Here's how we were using Cherwell. Here are some of the things that we would want to be able to see in Cortex." And I said, "That's brilliant. Let's add it." Um, and that's how a lot of these features get built, get prioritized. Is people like you say, this is how I want to use Cortex. This is some of the information that I want to be able to get out of Cortex. And especially as we get closer and closer to the end of life date, I think there are going to be a lot more people who kind of prioritize what they move over to a new system sooner rather than later, but they want to have, kind of that reference system available so that uh, the lower priority things when it's time to move them into the new system, or if they decide that they actually do want to move them into the new system, they can still kind of go back and see what they were doing in Cherwell as a reference. Obviously, not to use. Cortex still remains a read-only archive of the Cherwell data, but you can at least see a lot of the data, all of the data, and a lot of the configuration that you had in your Cherwell instance. So with that, that's the video. If you have questions, leave them down in the comments below, or join us on Discord or our Cortex users group. Again, links to both of those are in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.